Good morning, and welcome back to the Daily Trucking Market Update podcast. I'm your host, Driven, and on this show, I dive into the markets to keep you truck drivers, you owner operators, up to date so you can best position your truck to make the most money. Now, I'll be using the DAT load board, and I appreciate them sponsoring this video. And in return, they've provided you with the link down in the description box for 10% off for your first 12 months, so check it out. Now, stick around. I got a dad joke to tell, and then we'll dive right in.
Rolling down the highway, sun just breaking through. Radio's playing loud, the show's for me and you. Learn how to book your loads and make that money flow. Keep the shiny side up wherever we go.
Okay, so let's dive right in with the daily dad joke. All that I ask in return is that you hit the like button, consider subscribing, and maybe leave a comment. Let me know, what do you like, or even what do you dislike? What would you like to see different? Either way, I'm open to constructive criticism. Anyway, why do cows have hooves instead of feet? Because they lactose. That's enough dad debauchery. Let's get right into it. But let's start off with the weather. Now, I use weatherstreet.com. Don't necessarily recommend this for over the road, so find one that you like that's convenient for you, that gives you a nice little update. But I like to look at this one for the visuals. So we can see that northwestern storm is moving in. So you got some decent rain that's moving in up there. And then that storm that's kind of brewing over there in the Great Lakes doesn't seem to be too terribly bad, although New York is getting it a little bit. And then Maine's having lots of rain up there, especially if you're all the way up there towards Canada. And then, of course, you've got Florida, right? Florida's Florida, and it is hurricane season. And as such, it's got a big one headed that way. So you guys be careful, stay safe. Hope everybody is okay. And I hope everybody got the heck out of there, family included. Looking forward for the next couple of days. Yeah, that Northwest doesn't seem to get too terribly bad. It seems to kind of dissipate. The Great Lakes one seems to dissipate as well. And then the one that's up there in that Northeast seems like it's going to dump a bunch of rain kind of all over the place. It's probably a low up there or something. And then Florida. Yeah, it's going to get lots and lots of rain. So you guys be careful out there. But let's go ahead and dive in to the actual trucking market update. Now, I like to start on the national load counts. And what this does, this gives me a barometer for the overall market. This gives me the actual loads or trucks that are carrying loads into that state as compared to loads that are there for trucks to pick up to take back out. Now, this doesn't tell the entire story. This just gives you a snippet. This just gives you an idea. You need to take this information as well as the information that I'm going to provide in a few minutes whenever I actually dive a little bit deeper and go into the heat map so I can tell you exactly where the freight's at in these particular states. So Alabama, 792 loads in to 371 loads out. That's more trucks headed in and not a bump in loads. So Alabama sliding backwards. Arkansas, 355 loads in to 471 loads out. That's looking good. I think that's a little bit move into the positive there. Arizona, 355 loads in to 471 loads out. That's actually really good for Arizona. It's interesting. Don't get married to it though, because Arizona's not great for freight. Why did I say Arizona? That's why I thought Arizona was looking good, because that's actually Arkansas's numbers. And for Arkansas, that's okay. It's above that 50-50 mark, but that's just okay. Arizona, 482 loads in to 337 loads out. That sounds more like Arizona. California, 1,560 loads in to 1,965 loads out. So we're seeing a slip there back towards that 50-50 mark. So a little bit of the negotiating power taken away from you guys there. Colorado, 464 loads in to 254 loads out. So, kind of typical Colorado, but a slide nevertheless. Kentucky, 259 loads in to 114 loads out. Not Kentucky, Connecticut. Sorry, I don't know. Reading is hard. Connecticut, thank you. DC, 5 loads out. Delaware, 113 loads in to 51 loads out. Florida, 2,494 loads in to 951 loads out. Please be safe down in Florida. Georgia, 2,297 loads in to 934 loads out. So yet another slide for the Dirty South. Not a great market whatsoever. Iowa, 321 loads in to 564 loads out. Yay, some positive news. That's great. Iowa, the negotiating power is getting even better for you up there. So make sure that you're making good money there. Idaho, 105 loads in to 182 loads out. It's just that stayed the same as yesterday. Illinois, 1,272 loads in to 2,277 loads out. Love to see it. That's usually one of your better markets there. So we are seeing a push, a swing towards in you guys' favor in Illinois. Indiana, 876 loads in to 1,613 loads out. That's actually an increase as well. So that's good. Kansas, 303 loads in to 294 loads out. That's staying the same. Kentucky, 573 loads in to 762 loads out. So actually, a swing in you guys' favor again. So you've got some negotiating power there in Kentucky, and that is an area that you can negotiate with the brokers, and you can get a bump in rate. Louisiana, 354 loads in to 393 loads out. So it's still remaining above that 50-50 mark. That's good to see, but don't be fooled, because Texas is usually in such rough shape that you get a lot of the Texas boys and ladies bouncing over to Louisiana to pick up some of that freight. Massachusetts, 424 loads in to 301 loads out. That's typical for the Northeast. Maryland, 401 loads in to 395 loads out. So that's pretty normal, but that's right there at that 50-50 mark. So no negotiating power there. Maine, 100 loads in to 136 loads out. So decent shape for Maine. Looks like you're not going to get stuck, but I don't think you're going to get a huge bump in rate up there. Michigan, 610 loads in to 923 loads out. Love to see it. They've got 50% more freight than they do trucks headed that direction. So as long as those Great Lake states remain like this and even get increase in production like they normally do towards the end of the week, that's going to be really good states. Those should be really good states to haul freight from. Minnesota, 432 loads in to 645 loads out. Same story, getting a little bit better. That's good. Missouri, 586 loads in to 829 loads out. So Missouri coming on strong. Got some negotiating power right there in Missouri. Mississippi, 318 loads in to 388 loads out. That's really good for Mississippi, but unfortunately it's just surrounded by states that are not so great. So kind of affects that market. Montana, 67 loads in to 35 loads out. North Carolina, 1,735 loads in to 767 loads out. Rough shape. North Dakota, 47 loads in to 109 loads out. So double the amount of freight that they do for trucks. So it's a good spot for you to get some money. The load should be posted for decent on that load board. And if not, make them pay. Nebraska, 198 loads in, 147 loads out. It's a bit of a slide, but that's typical for Nebraska. New Hampshire, 154 loads in to 31 loads out. That's rough. New Jersey, 758 loads in to 1,134 loads out. So that's just normal for Jersey. Not great, not bad, but just decent. New Mexico, 161 loads in to 299 loads out. I'm still skeptical. That sounds good, though. Nevada, 198 loads in to 325 loads out. So that's good for Nevada. We didn't really see a slide there. It remains in pretty good shape. New York, 802 loads in to 1,077 loads out. So a bit of a slide, but typical from what we see out of Jersey and New York. Ohio, 1,330 loads in to 1,884 loads out. So you got more trucks headed in, and I think right about the same as far as loads out are concerned. So you lose a little bit of negotiating power there in Ohio, but you do still have some. Oklahoma, 501 loads in to 257 loads out. That's actually a bit of an improvement, but not much to speak of. Oregon, 144 loads in to 398 loads out. Northwest, looking pretty good. Pennsylvania, 1,605 loads in. That's a lot to 1,917 loads out. So losing the negotiating power there in PA, but still in okay shape. Rhode Island, 87 loads in to 39 loads out. South Carolina, 864 loads in to 626 loads out. So not good. That's usually the strongest state over there for its region, and that's a pretty big slide in the wrong direction. South Dakota, 50 loads in to 68 loads out, so that's good for the North Dakota numbers. Tennessee, 909 loads in to 760 loads out, so not great. Definitely below that 50-50 mark. Right there on the border of that would be as far as I would go if I was going to head down to the southeast. I would try my best not to go to Tennessee or not to go beyond Tennessee. Really, I wouldn't go there regardless, but that would be about as far as I would try to go if I could help it. Texas, 3,676 loads in, 2,484 loads out. So a bump in production, but when you have so many trucks that are headed this way, it's tough to carry or to cover that number, unfortunately. So Texas, not great. One of these days, I'm hoping to see that Texas is actually good. I would love to say that. It's not like the rates are going to be great and you can have a bunch of negotiating power, but it would be nice to just once see it above that 50-50 mark. Anyway, Utah, 277 loads in to 278 loads out. I mean, not bad. That's okay for Utah. It's not above, or it's still barely above that 50-50 mark, right at it, but not the greatest state for freight. Virginia, 827 loads in to 713 loads out. So a little bit of a slide, I think, maybe about the same percentage-wise, but below that 50-50 mark, unfortunately. Vermont, 38 loads in to 45 loads out. Washington, 239 loads in to 465 loads out. So Northwest, you guys are still looking good. You're still making the money up there. Wisconsin, listen to this. We got a winner. 679 loads in to 1,408 loads out. If that's not negotiating power, I don't know what is. I mean, if you're up there and that broker's not negotiating with you, be like, okay, I'll call on the other, what is that? Almost 2.5 to 1 loads that I've got posted. The shipper's just going to have to pay this week. They're just going to have to pay this week. Know your numbers. Sound like an educated truck driver, and you will make more money. Period. It's as simple as that. Sorry if the lighting's all messed up. I got the sun reflecting off of a window across the way. And now it just blinded me. West Virginia, 136 loads in. Have mercy. I can't see. To 165 loads out. And then Wyoming, 51 loads in to 57 loads out. Man, I hope that moves soon. Diving into, we're going to skip that. Just real quickly, going to cover the trend lines. Not going to go into depth. If you're curious about these, you can check out yesterday's video. Spot load posts last week compared to the week before, up 16.8%. But compared to September of this year to September of last year, they're down about 13%, which is actually a move in the positive direction. And then the van load to truck last week compared to the week before, up 16.3%. And then September of this year to September of last year, down almost 10%. So not great. Not great, but it is moving in the right direction, the direction that we need to see it move. So that is a good thing. Markets, let's see, for vans, just overall across the board, the average, you've got box freights up 4 cents to $2.01 a mile. Skateboards are up 4 cents, fucking math, to $2.42 a mile. And then reefer is down only a penny today. Hey, big moves for reefers. Is down to $2.36 a mile. That really needs to come up. You guys should be making more money than that. Fuel prices. Moving in the wrong direction here. Not sure what that's all about. The average price is $3.58 per gallon, which is up 1.13%. A little spike there. Don't like to see that. All right, let's move into the actual markets and let's see where this freight is at. It's still a decent amount of red and orange for a Tuesday. So, it's going to be an okay week. I'm not going to say it's going to be a great week, but it's going to be an okay week. Looking at that Northwest, the freight is not in Seattle. It's still in Oregon, and it's showing Southern Oregon, but I don't know if I would necessarily trust that. There's a decent amount of freight in Oregon, but certainly not over in the eastern half. But Portland is probably going to be where you want to go if you're looking to get a decent paying load out of there. California, the freight is actually covering the southern half or the southern portion of California today, and not just a little bitty market right there in Los Angeles, like it was yesterday. That's typical to see. San Diego's still cold, but that San Francisco market did cool off, and it's just sitting right there around average. It's showing the freight in Nevada to be in the northern half. Still surprises me, even though I see it almost daily. But yeah, that's where it's at. That New Mexico market, I don't know. I'm not going there. I don't want to cover it. I'm never going to recommend that you go there. If you can sneak in with a fantastic paying load, but already have a load booked out, great. But if not, I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't take a good paying load just to go there in hopes of finding a load out of there. Just wouldn't do it. Texas, so Dallas has heated up just a little bit. I guess that's where all that freight's coming from. So you got the Houston and the Dallas market both in red today. The freight in Louisiana is in the southern half. The freight in the Arkansas, Tennessee area, Mississippi area is all surrounding Memphis right there. Georgia showing that the Atlanta market's heating up, but I'm not sure how that works because the numbers are in worse shape. So definitely don't trust that. Moving up or north to let's skip that. Moving more north to the Midwest. The Kansas City market has kind of cooled off a little bit. The St. Louis market is still okay, but it's just showing average. And then Illinois was in really good shape. And the only market up there that's hot is the Chicago market. So Chicago must have come on really strong. If you're headed to Chicago, that should be fun, interesting, and you should be getting paid for your time. Make sure those brokers are paying you for your time. Indiana, the freight's going to be in the southern half, so the Indianapolis market, that's normal. Ohio, the northern half of the state is in great shape. The bottom half of the state is still a little bit above average. As the week progresses, that's going to move to the northeastern quadrant of Ohio is going to be where the freight's at. Looking at the Great Lakes states, Michigan, it's showing the entire market is average. Now, normally, it's going to be the western half, but even the Detroit half is looking okay. But so keep that in mind. If you're going to Michigan, you probably want to be on that western half. Wisconsin, looks like the Green Bay market. I'm not 100% sure where Green Bay lies on this market, but the northern portion of Wisconsin is the hotter market right now. That's abnormal. The majority of the freight's going to be on that eastern side. So that's going to be where you're going to find your freight up there. And then Minnesota. Still can't speak. We're almost done. The Minnesota market the freight is going to be located in the Minneapolis market. That's pretty normal. So that covers it for your trucking market update for October. What is today? The 8th. I appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe. Please leave a comment down below. It really does help. I mean, I don't care what you say. Just anything, any kind of engagement would be fantastic. Don't forget if you're looking for that DAT link for that 10% off for 12 months, that's in the description box as well as the pinned comment. So check that out. I appreciate you guys. Stay safe out there. Keep that shiny side up. But as always, stay driven. I'll see you tomorrow.